Welcome back, retirees. In our last video in this bucket list series, we covered some incredible travel destinations. Now it's time to shift gears and focus on something equally as important, the physical feats you can accomplish in retirement. Staying active is key to a healthy and happy retirement. You know that feeling of accomplishment? Retirement doesn't mean that feeling has to fade. It's time to write a new chapter, to train for a new kind of challenge. And so today we're going to talk about the big four types of physical feats you can accomplish to get that champion mindset, that champion feeling you know and love in retirement. So let's start with the physical feat where you move your feet over and over again until you achieve a specific distance. Yes, folks, we are talking about it. Running or walking races. Now stop. Don't leave, please. Before you change the channel because running is too obvious or you'd never be interested, you may be surprised about what I'm about to share. First, do retirees really run races? According to an AARP study, retiree marathon runners are increasing every year. A study done in 2022 shows that 25% of runners in marathons are 55 or older. You're taking it over, folks, taking over running. And in 2015, just 7 years before, that number was a measly 13%. That means a lot more retirees are getting into marathon racing. Think you're up for the challenge? Let's talk distances. The first, a half marathon. We're not going to talk about 5Ks or 10Ks. No, you want more than that. 13.1 miles. You can walk the half marathon if you average a pace of 16 minutes per mile, which is roughly 3 or 4 miles per hour. So at that 3 mile per hour brisk walk pace, you can cover the distance and check off a half marathon from your bucket list. Entry fees for these local races are usually just around $40, and you'll get a cool medal to wear. Or you can hang up on a wall and collect all the ones that you knock off. Or, of course, an ill-fitting cotton t-shirt. Now, the fun one to consider, bringing the kids and the grandkids to cheer you on, may be Walt Disney World, where you can enjoy the fun and the sun of the theme park, but also take part in the half marathon. That's usually about $200 to $300, and it happens in February and October of every year. Now, the last perk of going to Disney World, of course, is the after-hours park access to Epcot during October for Food and Wine Festival, so you can tie all those together. Now, training for a half marathon. Well, guys, start with consistent and easy runs or walks to build a solid foundation, progressively increasing distances each week, working your way up to that amount. Now, if you're feeling ambitious, maybe some sprints. I don't know, that feels aggressive. Develop a little bit of speed, but at least some running or jogging if you're walking. The training length, give yourself 8 to 12 weeks to prepare. We're talking about 3 months, and make it fun. Walk with friends, go outside, enjoy the weather. This should be an event that you enjoy, not that you dread. Get out there and start walking and running, folks, to accomplish something you've never thought possible and get that championship feeling again. All right, you ready for the distance? Not shocking. We're going to double it for a full marathon. That is 26.2 miles. While you may not be running to deliver the news of a battle victory like the Greeks of old, you can run to show you can still do challenging things, right? This is still a huge accomplishment running a full marathon. Local entry fees are roughly $50. And some marathons, if you start to get serious about this, require qualifications and cost more. Races like the Boston Marathon, you have to do a bunch of things to be eligible. So don't start there if you're just getting into this. The goal here is to finish and to have fun. And that is really what we're looking for, is getting that big feeling of accomplishment, doing a physical feat that's difficult, right? That's the whole idea of retirement goals and physical feats. Now, the training is going to be harder, right? You're going twice the distance. Typically, the spans for training will be 16 to 20 weeks. We're going to get into more time incorporating different types of runs, easy runs, long runs, tempo, fast runs, sprints, and hill workouts. Or you may be doing walks along those same time if that's the pace you're going. Long runs are crucial here to build endurance, slowly increase the distance, right? You don't want to hurt yourself, peaking around 22 miles a few weeks before the race. Supplement running with swimming, strength training, and biking to reduce the risk of injury. And don't forget, you got to eat well. You got to feed the engine some good stuff. Stay hydrated. Don't eat all that junk during this time period. Your body wants to burn better fuel when it's doing all this hard work. Don't forget, stay hydrated and mix it up once in a while. Your body will thank you. I would also recommend checking out some of those stretch labs or equivalents around different cities. A lot of times that can make a huge difference in staying healthy during your training. All right. You dominated the half marathon. You dominated the marathon. You're like, what else you got, Greg? What else you got to throw out there for a physical challenge? How about a triathlon, combining the events of swimming, biking, and running into one event? The most famous triathlon of all time is the grueling Ironman. But the short version of this, they call this a sprint triathlon, combines all of these in a great starter package. We're talking about a 0.6 mile swim, 12.4 mile bike, and a 3-mile run to get started. Folks, that is the good way to get into the triathlon mix to see if it is something for you. Now, you might be asking yourself, wait a second, that seems like a lot going on. What percentage of retirees are doing these types of things? Around 13.5% of triathletes are age 50 or over, and growing participation numbers speak for themselves. Of course, unlike the half or the full marathon, there are more costs involved with triathlons, tri-suits, bikes, running shoes, GPS watches. It can really add up. Entry fees also vary from around $65 for some Olympic triathlons to nearly $500 for a full Ironman. But remember, you don't need the most expensive gear to get started. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, my wife is a multiple Ironman finisher. So she takes this very serious. I've seen this. There's a lot of stuff going on when it comes to Ironman and triathlon preparation. So you have to be ready. So if you want to get an idea of the cost, if you want a tri-suit, what this is for the swimming portion, right? It's $80 to $300. A bike can cost you as much as you want to spend, but you can get a great bike for roughly $1,000. Running shoes, again, a couple $100. GPS watch, $100 to $700. The entry fees again are $65 to $500. So you're going to be roughly a couple $1,000s in, depending on how much you want to spend on all these items to get into the triathlon game. It's a huge accomplishment. It's a huge community, and they stick together. This is people that train together, work out together, and build those relationships doing something very difficult. Now we're 3 down, 1 to go. The first challenge, we're all about running. This is a different type of challenge. We're going to talk about hiking. That's right. If you want to go on an easy hike, Sedona, Arizona, there's amazing red rock landscapes, endless short hiking options with incredible views. One of the most common hiking trails is the Devil's Bridge, located in their national forest, with a trail from 3.8 to 4.6 miles round trip. And one of the best parts of being in Sedona, or Devil's Bridge specifically, is there is a no light pollution site, meaning the nighttime skies are unforgettably clear. It is a once in a lifetime view. Now, if you want to step your game up and say, all right, Greg, knock that box down. I've already done that. What's the next stage? A medium hike would be the Grand Canyon National Park in Arizona, right around the corner. Multiple hiking trails ranging from 2.2 miles to 13 miles. Seeing a lot of wildlife, things like elk, deer, mountain lions, I hope not, and birds. It's very economical. You can obviously do the hike for under $50, and it's beautiful and one of the wonders of the world. Now, if you really want to step your game up and do something hard, the Denali National Park in Alaska, Mount Healy Overlook Trail. It's steep, 4.9-mile hike with a 1,700-foot elevation gain. And don't forget, the descent can be just as difficult as the climb. Getting up and getting down is tough. That's a cheap $15. You get a lot of bang for your buck there. Angel's Landing Trail in Zion National Park is considered one of the top difficulty trails, primarily because of the steep drop-offs along a narrow ridge. It is felt to be like walking on a knife's edge. This trail challenges hikers mentally and physically. No, thank you. But it is an absolute joy for the majority of Americans to be outside, seeing the beauties of our country while being with their friends, walking in nature, and having that tranquility. We strongly encourage you to check out all of these half marathon, marathon, triathlon, and hiking locations in retirement. This could be part of your memory dividend bank. Now, when it comes to obviously doing all this, don't be afraid of the cost. Don't be afraid of putting things off till later on, because this bucket list series is all about exploring what is possible. Many retirees live in worry, not knowing with the confidence of what they can afford to do in retirement. At Gold Reserve, we help every retiree we meet explore these new possibilities. We do this with our roadmap for retirement and our income tent, forecasting out 25 years to show you that you're not running out of money in retirement. Our roadmap for retirement also breaks down the 4 largest risks of retirement, things like fees, taxes, market risk, long-term care, to hopefully show you where you may have some gaps in your plan, hopefully not the size of the Grand Canyon, and other things along that nature to make sure you're ready for retirement. And also with the income tent tied to it, giving you permission to take on these life journeys of travel, purchases, and living your best retirement. If you like this video, do me a favor, subscribe below, leave a comment, like it. Thanks for tuning in and can't wait to see you next week.
Yeah!